¿Y ahora tú qué tienes? ¿Qué? ¿No me vas a hablar?
No puedo, estoy muerto.
Entonces resucita pues y ya nos vamos.
No puedo, estoy muerto.
Ah, bueno.
I don't think any recent film has resonated and stuck with me ever since I saw it as much as Alfonso Cuaron's newest film, Roma. Now, Cuarón has consistently made great film after great film, so it's no surprise to me that Roma ended up being fantastic. But what made Roma go above and beyond for me was the intimate nature of the entire thing. He was a filmmaker that poured love and care to every single frame of this film. It's probably one of the most personal films I have ever seen, which is saying something as I have seen many, many films, but none quite like this. One of the things that really makes Cuarón stand out as a director is his constant willingness to push the medium forward while also leaving his distinct mark on it at the same time. He made a blockbuster that was widely artistic yet accessible while also staying true to his source material with Prisoner of Azkaban. He helped to pioneer the one-take action scene with Children of Men. And he used the medium of 3D to its fullest while also delivering one of the most nail-biting, intense theater experiences with Gravity. He is the rare director who doesn't push away old technology, but embraces it. And yet, his filmmaking style is distinctly old school, one rooted in a nostalgia for the past yet optimistically hopeful for the future. This is all important because Roma is every single one of those things. It's arguably a culmination of Cuarón's career up to this point, a montage and hodgepodge of everything that has made his filmography great while also giving a look into what he might do in the future.
Más o menos.
3 meses.
3 meses. Desde hace 3 meses. Dime una cosa, ¿ya empezaste tu vida sexual? ¿Ya empezaste?
Roma is a very artsy film, probably his artsiest in a very long time since Y2 Mama Ta Bien back in 2001. Now, artsy films tend to get a bad rap from some people, particularly some film buffs who believe that audiences wouldn't appreciate them because they prefer to go see superhero films or something like that. I don't know, I've never understood it personally. And while this is definitely true of some people, I think the so-called more casual audience is far smarter than most people think. It's not that they don't want to, it's just that they're not easily watched, especially when most of them get limited releases or aren't in theaters long enough to be seen. If the general audience, the ones who maybe see 2 to 3 films a year, don't want to watch artsy films, they wouldn't have put something like The Favorite to an almost $100 million worldwide total, a film that, in all retrospect, is probably one of the more inaccessible Oscar nominations in a while due to how out there it is. And yet it still managed to make enough money to become the highest grossing film in Yorgos Lanthimos' career. And this is where Netflix comes in. Netflix made and funded Roma, and they pushed it hard, and the first real shot as a Best Picture win. Which it didn't win, but it did win several other Academy Awards, including Best Director, Best Foreign Language Film, and Best Cinematography. Because of this hard push, Roma was at the front of the Netflix page for over a month, more than usual for this kind of film. And I think this is important because as artsy as Roma is, it's also very accessible. It's a film about family, love, life, death, sadness, happiness, all things we relate to as humans. And because it was on Netflix, more people were able to watch it, and I just saw how many people were blown away by it as I was, many of whom were not film buffs like myself. Roma is shot almost entirely in one takes, which is not surprising considering Cuarón's growing fascination with them. However, what's fascinating about Roma's uses is how it used the set atmosphere and layout of the setting. One of the most impressive shots of the film, a long tracking shot in the city, serves the purpose to both show our characters' urgency but also giving the setting life and a sense of reality. The geography is also clearly laid out through these shots, particularly the shots of the house. In 3 simple takes, we know where the rooms are, what they are, who is usually in them, how our lead character moves around the house, their daily routine, and their more wealthy status. It's economic, smart storytelling, and the film is filled with these. And it's not just the one takes that tell us a lot. Cuarón finds ways to make every frame as vibrant and important as possible. From the opening shot of the water and the ground, showing the reflection of the plane, to the movie theater where a movie is playing out a loving romance in the midst of a heartbreak, to a simple couch conversation while the kids play in the foreground. There isn't a single frame wasted here. I think the biggest thing that caught me off guard with Roma in particular was how intense it was. And in retrospect, it makes total sense for it to be like this. Life can be really intense, crazy, and even disturbing at points, and the film doesn't shy away from that. Once the film reaches the Corpus Christi massacre, it's non-stop intensity, moving from one tragic moment to the next without any time to breathe whatsoever. And I think this intensity is what really makes the film tick. You spend half the movie getting to know these characters as people. It's structured in such a way that you see their daily lives together, what they eat, where they sleep, what they do on a daily basis, what problems are going on in the family, what good things are going on in the family. All of these things are important because when the shit finally goes down in the second half of the film, you actually care about the outcome and what will happen to these people. It also helps you that it hits like a truck out of nowhere, replicating that feeling of being in the real world situation like that. There's a scene in the start of the film which sticks out to me, and I'm not totally sure why, but it's a perfect example of the little stuff in this film that still gets me. When the father is coming home, Cuarón spends a lot of time emphasizing how hard it is for the car to get in the driveway. The father is also hidden throughout this sequence, seen only through the hands and the cigarette he is smoking throughout the scene. The scene is a slow build as we slowly park into the garage, bending the mirror, desperately trying to get inside as slowly as possible not to hit the car. Later on in the film, we see this scenario repeated, only this time it's the mother drunkenly crashing the car into the wall, busting through the house and the car up in a rage due to her husband's infidelity. This can be seen both literally and metaphorically, both as a darkly comedic reprise of a prior elongated segment, while also being a representation of Sophia's rejection of her cheating husband. And throughout these scenes, these intimate moments with family, they never feel voyeuristic or peeping. Instead, they feel wildly personal, like we know these people. Cuarón has mentioned repeatedly in interviews that he was inspired by his own life for the film, and it's semi-autobiographical to some extent, or at least the emotions of it are. And you can see that on screen, each frame lovingly crafted and shot in a way that only someone who lived through this could imagine. And that's not even getting into the impeccable sound design, which makes you feel like you're living in Mexico during this period, or how the film purposely doesn't subtitle any other language outside of Spanish or Mextic for the film, putting you in the landscape of Mexico fully and impressively. I have seen Roma 4 times since it was released, and each time I watch it, it gets better and better and better. And I cannot wait for Cuarón's next project because he has proven himself time and time again. However, I am nervous, because I think he peaked with this film. Because personally, I think this is Alfonso Cuarón's masterpiece.